Peace. This is a meat potato sorcery production starring myself, the Warrior Alchemist, and today's topic for the occult family is you were not born in sin. This is one of the greatest gaslightings ever in existence. You were not born in sin. Look at it like this. Now, I have talked in a past video about how Christianity really came through with Vespasian and Titan. And of course, it was taken from other deities who were so-called Christ. Krishna. You had Buddha. You had Horus. You had all these other deities before the carpenter even came along. And one of the things, the programming is so dynamic that you will just think about that even if you attempt to practice magic, even if you try to delve into alternative forms of spirituality, you're born in sin. So that's like, okay, I run a race. I have no chance of winning, but I'm going to participate anyway. That is like insane to me. I'm not going to be no bronze medalist. I'm not going to be no silver medalist. And there was a skit. It was from Boogie Down Productions on their Sex and Violence album, which came out in the winter of 1992, called The Real Holy Place. And Blastmaster KRS-One had this saying. He said, stop looking for a live God in a dead book. And that's what many people are doing. Even people I know who say that they practice metaphysics or the occult, what do? They say, praise to Yahuwah. Why are you doing that? Why are you looking for something outside of yourself? Good question. I got the answer. Let me cook. The reason that you're looking for that, because you don't want the accountability. See, it's easy to say, okay, if things don't work out, it wasn't God's will or whatever. You a God. You're a goddess. See, you don't want that responsibility, because if something goes good, you're like, okay. But if something goes bad, and that's going to happen, you know what it's called? Let me help you out here. It's called life. Even the book of Isaiah, so-called Jehovah or Yahweh, who really tried to take Baal's title, he was both good and evil, both benevolent and malevolent. And that's what went into your DNA as well. Even John, the book of John, ye are gods, but you will make your transition, I'm paraphrasing, as men. Stop looking for something outside of yourself. The programming is so successful, even if you get into witchcraft or magic, you're thinking about karma. So you attach this Judeo-Christian Abrahamic concept to karma. That's how insidious it is. It's like parasitic worms. It keeps digging in you and digging in you. People up there, oh, thank Jesus I got this job. Or Jesus woke me up in the morning. Look at it like this. Let's say that you're doing you're trying to participate in a business or in a relationship. You want to really, woo this man or woo this woman. What are you bringing to the table? If this person is doing most of the spiritual, physical, economic groundwork, what do they need you for? What's your role? Many people don't even know their role. So let's see. I don't got no money. I'm not the best looking. I have my GED, made my education. I barely got this going on in my life. Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. You can't lose all the way around. Pick a struggle. Stop looking for a God or a goddess outside of yourself. You may be a younger God. You may be an ascended master. Stop looking for something outside of yourself. That is nothing more than divine cowardice. Stop doing that. You were not born in sin. You weren't. And they say the Bible doesn't deal with this, the Bible doesn't deal with that. The Bible is an occult manual if you know what you're doing. And this goes well beyond Psalms. Yes, Psalms leads the pack, but you can also use scriptures from Leviticus to mark a target if you really know what you're doing. And many people have tried to downplay that reincarnation is spoken of. If you read the book of Matthew, it even said that the prophet John or John the Baptist came, but they knew him not. And in another time, he was Elijah. See, biblical scholars tried to play that down. So they're giving you all the cues of what to do. And I got to say this, even with Al-Islam, where so-called Muslims have tried to say, well, the New Testament all is attributed, to Isa, who was also Jesus. That's not true. The only book that's attributed to him, if you know the Quran, is Injil, Revelations. One book only. Muslims, get it together. And I want to speak to this concept of where Jesus became a so-called revolutionary. That goes back to, and I want my people who live in or around the 313 area of Detroit. That's a tribute to the Shrine of the Black Madonna Church, which is located on the west side of Detroit off of Livernois and Davis. If you know, you know. That was a bookstore. It's no longer in existence. Just like you had the House of Consciousness with Louis Michaud in Harlem. You had the Shrine of Black Madonna there in the D, 313. And they had a lot of people that would come through. And there was a person that I had a good association with, which was Cardinal Kenji Abi, who she's no longer here, but she was from Chicago and she was a former Panther. And then she became a cardinal with the Shrine of Black Madonna Church. So in 1967, they had to reinvent Isa or Jesus, and he became this revolutionary figure, which he already really was that when he was flipping over tables. But here it is, a lot of you people thinking about sin. You are coming from a position of weakness and it's pathetic. Stop it. You weren't born in sin. The left-hand path is about accountability, responsibility, and being 10 toes down for this path. Everybody can't cut it. And like anything else, the strong will be separated from the weak. So let that please set in. Stop saying that. Stop praising something outside of yourself. You respect, you can pay homage, but you don't praise something outside of yourself. Get it together. Please, knock it off. So, with that, that is your meat and potato assortment for the day. I am the Water Alchemist. Be water, my friends. Peace.